Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house, and today I'm in the house with the Monterey Bay Knives Slayback. Here with me for a review. We're gonna analyze the look, the sound, and the feel of this bad boy. But first of all, let me say a big thank you to my buddy Guillaume for sending this guy along, so I'm able to share my impressions with you. And second of all, don't forget to like this video, and maybe don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed, because that's gonna help me a lot in keeping cranking these videos out for you guys. So let's get started. Let's check the size of this bad boy over here, because the overall length of this one is going to be 6.9 inches, which are equivalent to 17.4 centimeters roughly. Don't take me like too seriously with these numbers. And 2.75 inch long cutting edge for the blade, which is equivalent to 7 centimeters, and the handle is going to be 10 centimeters, or like I would say 4 inches, maybe 3.9. So we are in that ballpark of a smaller knife, because would you look at that? Check out the Ontario Rad number 1 and the Ontario Rad number 2. This guy is smaller than the Ontario Rad number 2, which is very interesting. And if you check the Benchmade bag out, you're gonna see that this is a little bit bigger than the MBK, but the mini bag out, no, it's smaller than that, finally. So let's also check the Spyderco. That's the Para 3, and you see that it's kind of like in the same ballpark, but again, the MBK, it's gonna be a smaller knife, and especially if you check it up against something bigger like the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, you're gonna notice that, yeah, it's kind of like dwarfing this little slayback. And maybe you are a fan of Chris Reeve knives, and that's gonna be your small Sebenza 21, and of course I'm gonna show you a large Sebenza 21 right next to that, so you can have an idea of these two Chris Reeve knives offerings. And let me also show you a couple of hinders. Here we've got the Eclipse, and here we've got an XM18 right there. And yeah, it's smaller. There's nothing we can do about it. But let me show you another couple of beautiful options, guys. We've got the Shirogorov Custom Division Hathion, and same Custom Division, but this is the F95 Antique, so you have an idea of these two offerings also by Shirogorov Knives. And what is this? This is a double detent slip joint. It's a non-locking knife designed by Ray Laconico. As you can see on the spine of the blade, there's no lock, so it's just a set of raindrop carbon fiber scales, nicely chamfered on the outside, just a little bit going on the chamfering going on the inside. You've got that couple sets of liners under the hood, and it's an interesting design, pretty slick, kind of like classic Ray Laconico shape, very, very minimal, clean and slick lines. There's a central fuller groove going on, which is exposing the intimate nature of this raindrop carbon fiber scale, which I really appreciate that. There's no internal skeletonization on the liners. This is going to be around $180 in price. It's nicely made. I mean, it's very similar. It's straight, basically, like looks like a stick. Like you know, there's no finger grooves going on over here. You have this angles, oops, sorry, you have this angle sweeping up and following the handle lines up here on the blade, creating kind of like a thumb ramp, and it's something you can just use like that to just close it. So very, very interesting indeed. And then you've got a couple of standoffs which are made of stainless steel with two screws which are protruding a little bit, not completely flush with the handle. It's going to be a breeze to take this guy apart. Super easy disassembling process. Just check my video about that if you want to know how to maintain and check out the inside of this knife. It's actually interesting. You've got the blade tip, which is safely recessed here. Not going to be able to touch it in any ways. Blade looks pretty centered. You don't have any lanyard hole option going on over here, so keep that in mind if you are a lanyard fan. And then you've got yeah, a pretty cool look when it's even open. A taller blade than the handle, very interesting. In fact, it's sticking out like this much when the blade is closed. And you've got there's no lock. So as I said, there's two detent balls. Like one is gonna be here, and the other one is gonna be here in the closed position. And you have a tip-up carry only titanium pocket clip, which is 3D milled and kind of like has this kind of like sandblast finish to it. Couple screws to keep it in place. Nice springy tension, cool entrance ramp. It's not reversible, it's not ambidextrous, it's just gonna stay on this side. Then you've got this tiny blade, let's say, which is lacking any jimping, but is featuring a Ray Laconico signature on the spine of the blade, which is nicely, gently chamfered a little bit. And here starts your swedge, reaching the tip of this kind of like long ship's foot blade with a straight edge up to the sharpening choil, flat grind. You can see the belt lines going on in this direction and also on the swedge. Really cool. Tiny sharpening choil, which is going to be pretty useful. And then you've got the jimping going back here on the like on the spine of the blade and on the curvature here, because that's going to be the grip you need to flip the knife open. The stock thickness is not that bad. 0.125, and behind the edge this guy is pretty thin actually. It's gonna be like 0.0145, so it's a cool slicer with this flat grind. This is an M390 steel, by the way. Pretty sterile looking. There's just the logo going on over here, and I mean Ray Laconico, but nothing showing on the show side, which is a fantastic thing for sure. You have a nicely recessed plunge grind, which can just let you admire the thickness behind the edge of this blade. Nicely done. Also, the sound is pretty interesting, very subdued. There's not much walk and talk here because there's no spring, but that's an unobtrusive, not loud, quite pleasant, and also mellow and soft sound. Also like the clicky sound when closing, it's not too bad. This is gonna be a lightweight because I mean carbon fiber, it's the tiny size, small stock. Let's just this guy is gonna weigh in at 2.58 ounces, which is pretty much good to go in my books. There are no hot spots whatsoever, no sharp edges, pretty easy to handle. There's not much jimping, not much texture, not much grip. It's a little bit on the slippery side, but this fuller is gonna help you a little bit in the grippiness department. It's pretty balanced in the hand, feels actually solid, even if there's no backspacer, just the two standoffs. There's a micro flexing because of course the carbon fiber, it's not that rigid as the like a full titanium, for example, but I don't feel any blade play, no finger soreness when deploying the blade. Just don't do the push button like that. Just arch your finger like so and just do the light switch and you're gonna be good to go. Pretty good to go. You're in business. This guy is running on bearings. There's no rattling when shaken. It feels pretty good. It feels pretty well put together. Not really any gaps or misalignments. It's nice. I mean, we can't really talk about the lock stick because there's not actually any lock. The clip ramp has a good retention. I mean, the pivot system is pretty cool. Deploys fast. There's no... See, you need to wiggle. There's no free-falling action if you hold the blade in the vertical position. We can't talk about the fact that there's no detent ball ramp, but I mean, the detent is never leaving the tang of the blade, so that's why there's not. And also, I mean, overall the action is it's pretty decent. It's like a slip joint. It's a non-locking one, so fidget factor, it's there because of the flipper tab. But overall, this is a pretty cool, interesting EDC knife. Contained price, cool designs, pretty unique. Not much hot spots going on. It's a small blade, but has a pretty cool weight and definitely a unique look. So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and please don't forget to subscribe. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned.